Хай! Всем хай!
Look, the cutest thing you'll see all day. Hamlet staged by children.
Воспоминания о сцене. Так, про какой? Про вот этот, да, плакат?
Oh, so it has taken root. What's taken root? As I recall, when we were growing up, this theatre didn't welcome kids.
А, блин, мне вообще в это сопня уже. А что за ПРС? Просадки.
Welcome, sir. I do hope you enjoy yourself.
Маска с золотыми звездами.
Kurt Manchios, I
Ага, вот он.
presume. I'm Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, you must be the one Werner told me about. What a sweet voice you have. It must belong to a handsome young man. Can I call you Sherlock?
As you wish, Mr. Manchios. Mr. Vogel asked me to help you. The body in the altar room requires answers, and quickly. I suspect the murderer to still be here.
What? Lower your voice. I don't want anyone to hear us.
Did you know Fabio well?
People are starting to look at us, Sherlock. Change the subject. I can't believe what happened to him. To me. Such an atrocity. Think what it means for me. What I have betrayed all my promises of exotic delights.
I don't understand. Surely a murder would affect your reputation to a greater extent.
Please, isn't this why you are here? I thought you were a silent magician. Do your tricks and make it go away.
I need to find all those who had the key to the altar room. As far as I know, Mr. Vogel, Fabio, and you had access to it. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes. Also, Matista and Santos.
Santos? Who is that?
Santos Pinchetti, my major domo. In his opinion, at least.
I'd like to speak to Mr. Pinchetti and Matista. Do you have somewhere I might have a private conversation with them?
Of course, of course. Let me think. Matista is entertaining the guests somewhere, and Santos... Oh, yes. He will be busy with the servants. Or the cook. What's that noise? What's going on? Please, filth. You're under arrest.
Что происходит? Ясно. Эй, здравствуйте. Что смотреть? Второй стрим. В смысле второй?
Committed a crime, and now I have to free you, kiss your hand, and apologize for the inconvenience. Your Grace.
I did tell you that Mr. Vogel and I were innocent. I emphasized it in my statement.
Your statement? Thanks to some bigwigs who work for the so-called good of the country by releasing fleas like you. Thank God we have Vogel in this letter. Once I get to that goldfish, I'll...
Bigwig? Ah, my wretched brother Mycroft and his long nose.
Wait, did you say Mycroft? Mycroft Holmes? Are you the youngest son of Violet Holmes, rest her soul?
Is there something wrong with that? Do you know something about her?
I was working on the paperwork of her case while you still had milk on your lips.
Would you happen to remember anything of the events?
Well, I didn't make the inquiry, but I remember seeing some notes. Why?
You must help me. It would mean a great deal to me if you could find any information about that day.
Huh. Got you hooked, right? You know what? Stark and the others think they're the smartest here, thanks to you. Let me get this straight. Are you listening to me, lad?
I'm all ears.
Take this case. Report to me only, to Constable Harvey Oswald. I'll leave everything I have on this table. Find the murderer. Be a real copper. Question the suspects, make them sing.
Я и так этим занимался, пока вы, блин, не ворвались в дебилы вообще, нет?
Is not a suspect?
If he's innocent, then you can take your favourite degenerate away from here. If you slip or mess with the evidence, then trust me, your brother won't save you from my bludgeon.
Главное ворваться, дубинками бить, стрелять.
If anybody asks, then you're a consulting detective.
Let's make a start then, partner.
О боже.
I'm glad we managed to get the scoop before the raid.
Что нам нового скажет? Угу. Сантос настучал ментам. Да. Нам его как раз и нужно было допросить. Лежал ключ.
Back on track to solve the case.
Сантос, пинчети, блин, сраный стукач. Так, можно, наверное, уже нормальную одежду переодеться. А нет.
Look, I found Werner.
Werner, are you all right?
Oh, yes. Everything's fine. In fact, it's something of a family reunion. My brother spent quite some time in this place himself.
You should not be here. I told the police everything I knew.
Ha! What did you expect? The mighty Sherlock Holmes swans in, tells the officers what to
Batman,
think, and the world obeys?
Of course not. Anyway, I struck a deal with the constable, and I've got a free hand in the investigation. I find proof to solve the case for him. He obtains files about my mother's death for me.
Well done. If one has the power or will and can act, then one must. I wonder, suppose you couldn't get the proof to your truth. Would you tell a lie to the guard that enabled my freedom, knowing my innocence? Would that not be just?
Да пожалуйста.
I suppose that in the pursuit of justice, if truth was ineffectual, then one must resort to other means to achieve the outcome. I would do it.
Oh, Sherlock, that is sweet of you. Alas, if the police are after hard evidence, then I suppose neither truth nor lie would do.
That is absurd. I can resolve this without compromises. Do not give up hope.
I'm not supposed to know anything about this. I don't think I can tell you anything about this. I'm not supposed to know anything about this. Do I know him?
The major domo of the manor. He cleans up after you?
Well, then he does his job perfectly. All but invisible. I couldn't tell you the first thing about him.
Я Бэтмен. Видишь какой? О, можно переодеться. А, он мне сказал, чтобы я был как полицейский. Тогда придется как полицейский одеться.
What a bunch of losers.
Где детонатор? Ты не мог его отдать человеку из толпы. Так, они, походу, еще, по-моему, еще девку арестовали. А, так это
Good day, Mr.
владелец
Manchios.
особняка.
I am Constable Oswald's partner in this investigation.
Be quick and gentle. Some of your colleagues are untrained bores. Although I don't mind meeting young officers, the new blood here.
If you cooperate in finding Fabio's murderer, there will be no need to meet with the Boers again.
That voice. Werner's friend? You're the policeman. What a disappointment.
Only an undercover agent can scour a ditch full of deviants. I am a consulting detective, although I'm capable of replacing the entire department through my consultations.
Sharp-tongued, I like it. May I presume this tongue will get us out of this
Осуждаю
trouble?
такое.
I would be so indebted and glad to repay you.
Nothing's changed.
But
I'm looking for the
pedophile.
murderer. That's the only way to get us out of trouble.
But it shouldn't take much time, correct? We're all busy after all.
I need to examine you first.
Ля, тварь какая. Ща. Не, он мне сказал, чтобы я, типа, якобы под прикрытием был полицейского. Мыл руки, слушай. А как раз убийца мыл руки в раковине, так что... Не, он точно не помешан на чистоте, а вот возраст, скорее всего, скрывает.
You are a little over the top with your use of makeup, Mr. Manchios. Is it so difficult for you to acknowledge your age?
Well, Sherlock, that's easy for you to say to an old man when you look as though you are barely 15.
But still, it shouldn't be an issue for someone of your status.
For people of my age, it isn't an issue, no. But the younger ones can be so afraid of wrinkles and grey flecks. I have to adapt.
Such a methodical man who cares for his body but misses the soap under his fingernails. Are you so impatient, or perhaps even impulsive?
I wouldn't call myself that. Silly little details. If I missed it, it wasn't important. Or rather, it was less important than who or what I was focused on.
What was Fabio like? His personality, his habits? Anything you can tell me?
He was the brightest star of my parties. Young, magnetic, and full of energy. I don't even want to mention his beauty.
Ясно.
Otherwise, I'll be sobbing.
Это была
Expensive
гача
champion, I
вечеринка.
imagine.
His performances were flawless. He deserved his payment. Do you think he was murdered because
Чапсики
of
вкусные
money?
были.
Possibly. What about the other guests? Were they used to opening their wallets as well?
I wouldn't restrict my guests from anything. I'm sure Fabio received a few coins from others for his services.
Mr. Vogel told me a little about your parties, but I would like to know more directly from you.
I'm all yours, Sherlock. You have me arrested and locked here with you alone.
Why did you invite Mr. Vogel as your special guest?
He's a pretty fellow. He's capable of surprising the public. He has a talent for saying words that no one else would wish to either say or hear.
I suppose I can't argue with that.
He is a free addition to the eccentricity of the party, which is fine by me, as long as it enhances my party.
Это усы молодого полицейского, друган, так что заткнись.
I'd like to know who you usually invite to your parties.
Free minds who are able to leave reality for an evening, who can taste forbidden fruit without prejudice. There is nothing that quite spices up life like these parties, assuming one is old enough and has worked many years for the good of one's country.
Oh, all true labourers, I see.
Идиот, блин, дебил. Ты шо ты мелешь?
I've no idea about that. That's not something I know much about. I've no idea about that. I've no idea about that.
Do you have any idea who tipped off the police to raid your mansion, Mr. Manchios?
Of course. It was you. I could even say you Sherlock.
Не надо, я такого не
A
делал.
good guess, but the wrong one. The fellow who did that was Mr. Pinchetti, your major domo.
What? Santos? But how could he even know? If he's not the murderer himself. The ungrateful swine. He has dared to besmirch my reputation.
Not a very eloquent choice of words.
What should I call him then, since he's a snitch? Make him talk, Sherlock.
Короче,
I'm quite
убийца либо
certain he
Сантос,
knows
либо
more
этот
about the
дед.
murder than he has told
Я
the
более чем
police.
уверен.
That's not something I know much about. You'd better ask someone else. I've no idea about that.
You bought an expensive pair of cufflinks for Fabio. Were they his price? Or were they a tip for an exclusive show?
It was pure business. Fabio has thought of me a
Нормальные
few
усы,
times.
блин,
I
чё
was
тебе
merely
не
showing
нравится?
my gratitude.
This pair cost a small fortune. You must be extremely grateful then. Tell me more.
You've thrust a knife in an exposed nerve, Sherlock. Yes, he was my protege and my beacon also. With my experience and his
Нет,
beauty, we
извини,
could have achieved
ничего.
anything. I had faith in him. I would have made him.
Нет, извини, ничего. Нет, извини, ничего. Нет, извини, ничего. Так, ну это пока не будем делать, потому что мы пока не знаем ничего. Нет, извини, ничего.
I'm Sherlock Holmes. I'm helping Constable Oswald. You are Matista.
Ясно,
Fabio's
негрша.
friend.
Вот, все,
Miss
она
Body.
убийца, я знаю.
Yes, it's Matista. But it's a mere shell that will die someday. Just like Fabio.
Нормально.
Please accept my condolences for your friend.
Thank you.
I'm just here to ask questions and find Fabio's murder.
Нет, извини, ничего. Ля какая, смотри, ну по-любому же она убийца, ну ты посмотри. Еще и черная. Кровоподтеки. Кто-то избивал негршу, получается. Черная только. О, клеймо. Кстати, у этого, кого убили, у него тоже было клеймо такое же. Но он не был негром. Кандалы, да? Ну что она такая стрёмная? Ля выглядает, смотри, какая рыба, блин, какая-то, блин. Ты ж курьер, ну да. Приходишь такой там к этому, когда тебя убивают, ты такой, нет, извини, ничего.
You have both old and new scars. Some from the time when you were a slave with Fabio. Other scars have a different origin. The guests pay good money to torment you?
I am skilled in giving pleasure, but I don't participate in such practices.
I thought your body was...
For sale? It's true. Many unwanted things were done to my body. And the pain helped me to discover...
Occult deities? Yes, the tattoo speaks loudly of it.
Yes. Your gods abandoned me, and the ones I favor now are more protective of me.
А какие боги в неграх есть?
Something happened. One night the master fell down the stairs. I made him fall, and he died. We ran away that day. We
Посмотрим.
managed to get on a ship and
Письмо
traveled
от
here, to
Ярла.
Cordona.
В гору идешь,
Fabio
не
and I
иначе.
started a new life here. It was very hard at first, but it became better with time. Until today.
The bruises on your neck are not self-inflicted. Someone else made them.
Some guests can't contain themselves. They even bite. Sometimes.
Ясно, извращенцы какие-то. Так, пока никого не обвиняем. Ты дебил, ты что здесь делаешь?
Don't look at them. They'll serve us if necessary. Don't look at them. They'll serve us if necessary.
Ясно, алкаш, блин. Нормального напарника можно, блин? Так, у нас есть талончик.
Good day. Your ticket, please, if you want me to help you.
I'd like to check the evidence from this case.
And who are you?
Oswald sent me. I'm a consulting detective.
His partner, then? Let me see. Ah,
Не, у меня было другое, короче, этот. Там же иногда встречаются охотники, типа на драконов, отряды какие-то. Короче, эти, ну вот эти охотники охотятся за драконом, начали с драконом сражаться. Тут прибегает еще, встречают разбойников, начинается буча, эти дерутся с этими, их дракон сверху жарит. И прибегает ко мне какой-то бандит, дает топор свой вонючий, типа вот я за ним еще вернусь, блин. И что мы за улики получили? А, вот оно всё.
An emergency kit for boredom.
Да уж. Или курьер, да, в разгар битвы, блин, прибегает.
Not the time for privacy. Werner's personal sketchbook. It's a miracle this ruby hasn't tempted anyone. A heavily perfumed handkerchief with the initials KM in the corner. All the keys of the mansion on one golden ring. A handcrafted charm that contains hair and nail clippings. Her key to the altar room. That's not for bedtime reading. This ex libris belongs to Manchios Library. The book describes a ritual similar to the one performed in the altar room. Thank you, officer.
Рано делать, конечно, предположение, но я пока на деда почему-то думаю. Он какой-то странный.
Do you recognize this book? Could Matista have borrowed it from your library?
She didn't ask me. How ungrateful.
The things described in the book were inspiration for the rituals you performed?
Do you really believe that blood, symbols, and incantations can resurrect the dead? They are just eerie tales with a mix of occultism and voodoo. My rituals are a stage to show some of the forbidden pleasures. You'd better ask someone else.
I've read this letter from Fabio. It had no addressee, but it was found in Mr. Vogel's pocket.
Werner? Strange. I didn't think the two of them corresponded.
I'm sure there is some explanation.
А потому что
Would you care to read it?
главное расследование это ты расследуешь мать свою. Типа, что с ней случилось. Типа, нужно выяснить, короче, мать кто.
This book, The Power of Love, Blood and Mandrake, what do you hope to achieve?
To learn more about the invisible strengths that govern us. Occultism is real. The master who fell that night when Fabio and I escaped, I made him fall. I cast a spell on him and it worked.
Что ты там
Or was it a
произнесла?
coincidence?
The universe is rarely so lazy.
If you say so.
I've nothing to say.
This is the letter the police found in Mr. Vogel's pocket. Fabio wrote it. Do you know anything about it?
I don't. Although I can feel Fabio's energy. It's there, but it refuses to let me analyze it.
Тупая девка какая-то.
Do you practice occult rituals?
For protection? For fortune? To wash away the ugliness of the world? Sometimes to survive. I have the gift, and I'm learning to use it better.
Did you use your gift on Fabio?
I only used white magic. Love charms lately. Fabio became so distant. I just wanted him to be with me, but I suppose I'm not as skilled as I thought.
Ну, типа, вот зацепка, да, сейчас пойдет, то, что это настоящий ритуал. Но это не настоящий ритуал. Ритуал инсценировали. А что ты мне скажешь на это письмо, друган?
I'm not supposed to know anything about this. I'm not supposed to know anything about this.
So, the police found a letter from Fabio in your pocket.
I cannot tell if it was truly in my pocket at all. Perhaps it was placed there later.
Well, that is one hypothesis. If it were true, then how did it get there?
No clue. But this night has been rather eccentric. Such a detail could have easily eluded me.
Indeed. Do you recall reading it?
I can't remember that either. But I tend to respect privacy. Reading others' personal notes is not one of my perversities.
I've nothing to say about this. You'd better ask me a question I know how to answer.
Have you considered Mr. Santos Pinchetti as a suspect?
The snitch? Have you seen him? I mean, my breath could knock him down. What's so special about him?
As a major domo, he has keys that open all the rooms, including the one to the crime scene. Could have testified only to circumvent suspicion, don't you think? We need to question him.
Right. I'll send our men to fetch him. Stay here. They brought him in, Mr. Holmes. Here's the key to interrogation room number 7. Mr. Pinchetti didn't even resist, our men said.
Thank you.
Арестовали их! Арестовали! Ля,
Mr.
какой
Pinchetti,
черт.
a pleasure to meet you. I'm Sherlock
ну
Holmes.
давайте
I'm
тогда.
helping
Спокойной
Constable
ночи.
Oswald.
I've already told him everything I know. I'm only a witness, sir. Everything's in my report.
And I've read it. You forgot to mention that you hold the keys to the room where Fabio was found. I need only to find if the crime was intentional.
But I need to return to my duties.
I doubt the house will fall without you, Mr. Pinchetti. Just be still for a few seconds. Is your greedy nature responsible for the lack of taste and attention to your appearance? The cheap makeup, shabby and dyed clothes? How do you explain those, Majordomo?
The means to practice my profession are limited. I'm sorry you noticed it, sir.
The parties overshadowed your state. You are lucky Kurt Manchios's attention was concentrated elsewhere. In a decent household, you would be asked to leave for far less.
Yes, his attention was undoubtedly concentrated on something other than my appearance.
But one detail stands out on your dirty rags and shoes. The drops of blood.
Oh, that. I don't know anything about it.
Did you know Fabio?
Not personally. He was a frequent guest, and cleaning the mess after his performances was tedious. Mr. Manchios always had a role for him, and mainly the leading one. The parties were always, Fabio-centric?
And Batista? Was she as popular as her partner?
Don't tell her I said this, but I do not think so. Mr. Manchios hired her only because Fabio refused to work without her. Mr. Manchios used to see her as a worker. She was tasked with entertaining the guests, unlike Fabio, who could pick and choose. Please let me out.
The air here is rather refreshing. I'd even recommend that some of my friends visit the place.
I can't wrap my head around such a tragedy at my party.
I know I can handle the news.
Continue our investigation while I...
А, вещи конфискованные еще есть.
I recognize the key from the altar room among these. Mr. Manchios says that you begged him to be included in the heritage. Isn't that a little extreme, even for a major domo?
He's not only my employer, he's my uncle. And I'm his next of kin. The only one. Mr. Manchios flatly refuses to pay a family member. All I have to do is repay his so-called love. Cleaning up the filth after perverts and decadents. He's imprisoned me. The best I can hope for is a new broom. That's why I wanted to have my part of the inheritance.
Is it that bad? You have a roof above your head, a salary, and the status of a major domo.
For God's sake. I'm forced to dye and stitch my threadbare clothes, and the holes in my shoes are painful. I'm ashamed every time a guest looks at me closely.
Why do you think your uncle treats you this way?
My mother, my uncle's sister, had me illegitimately. She died, and I was given the surname of one of the maids.
But you are entitled to some of the money that belongs to your family.
He thinks not. I was not responsible for my mother's death. I work hard, and he pays me nothing. I feed on the leftovers. While he wastes our estate's property on decadent parties, he paid Fabio handsomely and showered him with expensive gifts for their disgusting relationship.
О, как.
Please let me out.
I have reason to believe that the intended recipient of the incriminating letter may have been Kurt Manchios.
Well, that makes sense. Too bad I can't remember how I came to possess it. though I did spend quite some time with Mr. Manchios during the party.
Unfortunately, even with an answer, that may still not be enough to clear you with the police. But fear not, I will persevere.
I hope your attempt to put
You being
touche.
Could Fabio have written this letter to Kurt Manchios?
Oh,
What do you mean?
well, Fabio wanted to disassociate from Mr. Manchios. Clients who are money. In our line of work, we can't afford to turn down.
Was Fabio afraid of me?
Not at all. The old toad wouldn't dare to do more than talk can be forgotten, and touching washed away.
There is undeniable evidence that you were the original recipient of this letter.
What are you talking about? Is it addressed to me?
Your protege wanted a fresh start, it seems. This is sufficient to charge you.
Me? Hurt my star? Are you insane that you would accuse me of such a thing?
He did not consider himself as yours. Since you deny everything, let's move on. Do you have any idea as to how the letter could have ended up in Mr. Vogel's pocket?
You were the detective. Perhaps he took it from Fabio. Werner was a little high. You'd better ask someone else.
I've read the letter about your will. A harsh method of ridiculing Santos. I doubt he will use mustache wax when he wears no mustache to begin with.
Where did you get it? Is the slug here? Tell him I shouldn't have to provide for him. He's a grown man who shouldn't sit on his uncle's neck. He conceives himself as my only heir.
And who is he to you?
He's a leech on my aging body. He has only added problems to my life since the death of his mother.
I fail to see why you made him your major domo.
He needed to know his place, so I taught him.
Вот тварь.
I know I can handle the news.
Are you done yet? Can I leave?
Thank you for your...
Так, сохранимся.
The murder of Fabio did not have a ritual purpose, Mr. Manchios. It was staged by a man who wished to distract the investigation.
That might be true. That poor girl Matista wouldn't dare to kill the only man who cared for her. So, Santos.
Mr. Pinchetti snatched at the chance to solve his problems.
Ungrateful little scum. Will he be executed?
But what for? He informed the police as to the crime, that was all. He couldn't stage the ritual, but he found the body, I believe.
I can't believe it. Why did Werner do it?
Mr. Vogel. He had no reason, and he won't be a scapegoat as you plan. You put Fabio's letter in his pocket when he was intoxicated, didn't you?
You can't be serious.
We can very often deduce someone's life by their shoes, or their fingernails. You are a meticulous person, but this murder was fairly traumatic and filthy. After you stabbed Fabio, you were covered in blood. You panicked and neglected to rinse the soap from under your fingernails. The devil is in the details, Mr. Manchios.
Nonsense. I missed it simply because of the busy schedule of the party.
Of course, a staged murder was certainly not planned. You're at the twilight of your life. You have no partner, you have no children. You had feelings, however, for one man. That was Fabio. You loved him. That is, you wished to own him, with money and gifts. But he was also a free mind, was he not? He turned his back on you. Quite unjust. Love, so cruel and painful, and Fabio, with his words and deeds, made you feel the more wretched. So you killed him.
You must surely perceive that my sensitive nature wouldn't allow me to hurt anyone.
You staged the murder as a satanic ritual. It was easy for you, since you were the one who wrote the scenarios for the parties. It was your way of avoiding suspicion. A respectable man in his 60s,
Early 60s.
who hosts the cream of Cordona's society, cannot possibly be a murderer. But the guests who behave like animals in his mansion, of course, one of them could have killed Fabio.
I did oversee a few of the rituals, but I did not stage Fabio's death.
Fabio played with your feelings. That was painful to realize. You spent so much time and effort to be with Fabio, but he didn't respond in the way that you would have liked. You wanted to be loved, but Fabio shattered your dreams. In the smoking lounge, he teased and mocked you. He wanted you to suffer by offering himself to others. The deception was unbearable. You were passionate, and so you struck him. Once you understood your mistake, it was too late. You were afraid, so you staged the ritual. With such a story, you might be sentenced to a few years. It might clean your conscience, and soon the case will be forgotten.
No. No.
This is my decision. I'll talk to Constable Oswald to see what I can do.
Ой. Ну, короче, тут опять нет верного варианта, поэтому Ну, я считаю, самый такой правдоподобный вот этот. Такой.
I know you can untangle this mess.
There's no fool like an old fool. Kurt Manchios did it. A young boy played with the heart of an old man. The latter couldn't handle it. The evidence I obtained clearly shows that the quarrel was not intended to end badly. It was an accident.
Showing pity towards your own kind, Holmes. Whatever.
All I'm saying is that prison won't take much away from an old and crushed man.
Fine. A big name like that will still give me a promotion. As for my part, not everything was in place. Perhaps some documents were transferred somewhere else, but I couldn't find a trace of them. Then I remembered. The discarded document drawers where we put the lost papers or the badly labelled ones. Including the crime scene report of Violet Holmes's case. Everything I've found is on the desk here. Take it.
Your persistence has saved me.
Yeah, well, we had a deal after all. Your friend is free then. You can leave.
Good luck, Constable.
Надрез. Ну-ка, ну-ка.
Garden. There's a garden behind our manor. Could I forget? That's where it all happened, where it...
Oh, you did it, Sherlock! The case is closed and all rewards belong to the winner. Bravo!
It is merely the triumph of the truth.
Is it? No compromises? No lies? You're happy with your decisions?
Whatever the truth, it had to be revealed. The victim deserved it.
Well, you seem confident in the value of your actions. I guess since I'm free, you were heard after all. By the way, did you get that precious information about your mother? Oh, not that you must.
Yes, I did.
Forgive my intrusion in such a personal matter. I simply worry I'm failing to be of much help to you.
Actually, you were. For some reason, all the archives on the case had disappeared. This was a rare opportunity to obtain the impossible.
Outrageous. Perhaps someone found the truth unpleasant. Society usually rejects those who speak with too much honesty, doesn't it?
A comfortable lie is often preferred to an uncomfortable truth. Still, I believe that the latter should prevail, and I cannot remain silent.
That's quixotism at its best. Your mere truth cannot defeat institutions, systems, and power. Etiquette, religion, marriage, they're all lies told to preserve...
Lies destroy human dignity. How could you make a free...
Are we really free to decide...
Oh yes. It's a struggle, but yes, we can make our own...
What an endless fight it is. You're a walking contradiction, Sherlock. You refuse to lie to others, but I cannot look away, but perhaps I should take a few steps back. You're an accident.
Ага, я понял, куда. Дверь должна открыться, да, была?
Sherry, please listen to me. Sherry.
John, I always listen to you.
You don't have to do this. You don't have to go through. I don't know what is beyond this door, but I can feel it. Buzzing, angry, like a fly at the window.
I know. I can sense it too.
You locked away this memory for a reason. There is only pain here.
Pain. And truth.
You do not need to suffer either. There is so much more we can do on Cordona, so many others we could help. There is no coming back from this.
John, my animum, my brother, there is nothing more important in this moment than this truth. I know you fear for me, but my path was set long ago. I can no more step off it than I can ask the avalanche to roll back uphill.
Just... please be careful, Sherry. I love you.
Quite. Come on. We'll go together. Why didn't I remember we had such a big garden?
Maybe you forgot it for your own good. That's the descendant of a tree your father planted in London, correct?
Indeed, we planted the sprout here, and for a while it grew happily. Alas, it seems without us here to care for it, it didn't survive. Ah yes, the statue of Merope. My mother was trying to restore it. Pity she never had the opportunity to finish. Is that the raft we made together, John?
Looks more like a pile of rotten planks now.
А куда? Еще и бегать, блин, нельзя, а?
That's from Mother's favorite tea set. What is it doing in here?
Come here, Sherry. Hurry!
These must help calm her down.
What are you thinking about? Is everything all right? What are you thinking about? Is everything all right?
Чего у него с голосом? Ага, вон туда надо, беседку.
Don't go, Mother, wait. I remember this artifact from Mother's collection. Mother's work journal. I liked poring over the detailed pages and reading about my parents' collection.
То есть это все те воспоминания, которые мы проходили. Сейчас они показываются.
Did you hear that? Someone's coming. You call this progress? Charlotte, amateur. I'm not letting you anywhere near my mother again.
Any result is progress, even if it is a worsening of her condition. It informs my...
No. I have made my decision. She must be sent to a legitimate medical facility. I will not let her hurt Sherlock.
What? Master Holmes, you do not understand.
That will be all. I expect you to have left the house by week's end.
Sherry, say something. Can you hear me? You're scaring me.
I'm waiting for you.
Мне кажется, он исчезнуть должен, Джон. Типа, после воспоминаний таких.
Sherry, come here, darling.
Coming, Mother. This was for my mother, wasn't it? I remember how we came to the garden for a breath of fresh air.
Take me to my flowers, Sherry. They must already be in bloom.
As you wish, Mum. I bet you missed the fresh air, didn't you?
Terribly. The sun is far brighter than I remember. But I like it.
We can walk each day from now on, if you want.
That would be wonderful. Just look at them. The stars of the earth. Even the sky must be jealous of their beauty.
Indeed. Mother, would you like to go around the water?
That would be perfect. I always wanted such a nice pond in London.
Может, он ее утопил случайно? Слушай.
Mycroft knew you would like it.
Капец. Когда будет?
We should put some fish in it. Don't you think?
How about some carp?
That's a nice idea.
Let's visit your father's tree. It grows so fast, just like you.
We could even build a tree house in it.
Yes, Sherry. Speaking of your father, could you call him out, please?
Mom! He's... I'm sorry. He passed away. He's gone.
No, he's not.
I'm telling the truth. Did you forget again?
No! Don't you dare say such things!
Не
You are a liar like all the others!
Mother!
Don't call me that! You aren't fooling me!
No! Mom, it hurts!
My son would never lie!
Mom, stop!
Who are you? Reveal yourself!
Please, stop! It's me, Sherlock!
You are not my Sherry! Get me my stuff back on!
Да. Вот это поворот, блин. Ну, короче, я так понял, здесь тоже нет прямой концовки, ну, настоящей. Поэтому...
Sherlock. Sherlock. Can you hear me? Come on, wake up.
Get off me.
Sherry,
You knew, and more than that, you hid it from me.
you couldn't bear the truth, Sherlock, so I shouldered it for you. I took your pain, your horror.
You. It was your idea. The sedative, that was you.
She was hurting us. I couldn't bear to see you suffer.
So you killed my mother. My worst impulses, my darkest thoughts, they're you. You were a lie, John, a fiction, a crutch.
No, I was a friend. Sherlock, please.
Sherlock?
What?
Are you okay?
I don't know.
I told you not to come, Sherlock. Where is he?
Who?
Your friend, John.
He's beside you.
Was all this worth it? Is he worth it?
Why is he here?
I think, in his own way, he was trying to protect me. A truth I couldn't bear. But now I must face it.
Whoa, 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 Sherry. What are you doing?
There is only one way through.
Through what? What do you mean?
My entire life, my work, my mind, has been compromised by a malignant force, by a perversion of rationality. By you, John. You're a tumor. You're a poison.
Sherlock.
And like a tumor, you must be excised for the health of the patient.
No. No, this is the lie, Sherry. I protected you. I am your friend, your brother. You know me. You know me. I was always there for you. When your mother lashed out, I took the hit. When you were alone, I held you. She was sick. She needed to calm down. I helped her.
You killed her.
No. Yes. No. But it was not meant. Please. Please. I'm scared.
Are you all right?
I think, on the balance of things, no.
That is good news. To be unaffected by today's events would place you in a different pathology entirely. Your time on Cordona is over, Sherlock. Tomorrow we shall board a vessel back to London, and all this, it stays here.
He's gone, Mycroft. I needed to take control. He would help me, but it was a lie but he's gone. I knew he was wrong. Do you see? I am free. I just had to act.
Yes. In that respect, you are your mother's son.
Why are you here?
Closure, I suppose. And to help a friend.
You and I are not friends. In a race between the thawing of the ice caps and our friendship by...
Ha! Is that right?
I can see it now. I know what you did. What did I do? You needled me. From the moment we met, you were searching for weakness. You pushed me to pursue the truth about my mother. You questioned everything I did, everything I believed, to break me. To blur truth and fiction, reality, morality. Saboteur in silk. Was it vengeance, Sven? Or do you prefer Klaus?
Excuse me?
You are Klaus Richter, Otto's younger brother. Do you hold me responsible for his end?
Ha! There was no love lost between me and my brother. I am sure you can relate. Otto was merely the gravity that pulled me into your orbit. Or you into mine. Once I met you, I could not keep away.
Why? What reason do you have for all this?
To help you.
You're lying.
To show you that you were wrong.
More lies. I know you now, Werner. Try again.
To see what had happened. Or is that yet another untruth? Does it matter? Take your pick. Who cares? You're my masterpiece. I turned Sisyphus into Ozymandias. You could not see the futility of your quest until I helped you to let go of the rock. And now, nothing beside remains.
I remain. Despite you, and to spite you.
It is a matter of will and power now. Will you overcome this, or shall you decay? Oh, on that note, I brought you something.
I want nothing more from you.
When one wants for nothing, Sherlock, the best thing to get them is something personal. So, here you are. Now, please excuse me, but the gallery calls. I'm already conceiving my next project.
И что это?
You really are beautiful.
I am all right. I returned to London and enrolled at Cambridge University. Their professors leave something to be desired, or perhaps I simply lack the interest in all but a few lectures. I prefer to spend my time at the local hospital pursuing things of practical use. Medical research, chemical tests and the like. Empirical truths. I try not to think about you. I try not to think about anyone unless it is in the course of an investigation. I've started to help people with their menial mysteries. It keeps the mind occupied. I cannot risk otherwise. I'm not like her. I'm not like you. I am all right.
Интересно, Ватсону покажет? О, походу, да.
I found it! I found it! I found it!
Да, это походу Ватсон.
What is that?
Так он же типа, ну, не молодой был, когда они встретились. Лет по 40. И хоть старым сделали, что ли.
How far, bruises may be produced after death. How are you? You have been in Afghanistan, I perceive.
How on earth did you know that?
Never mind. The question now is about bruising. No doubt you see the significance of this discovery of mine.
It is interesting, no doubt, but practically...
Why, it is the most practical medico-legal discovery for years. Had we these data sooner, hundreds of men would have paid the penalty for their crimes. Cases oft hinge upon how a man died. Now, we can know which wounds he suffered alive, which occurred post-mortem, and what instrument was responsible. And ergo, one will soon be able to calculate with utmost precision when and where death occurred, sparing the innocent and damning the guilty.
Well, then you are to be congratulated.
Indeed. But, you came here on business.
Correct again. I am looking for someone with whom to take diggings, and heard you were complaining that you could get no one to go halves with you.
I have my eye on a suite in Baker Street, which would suit us down to the ground. You don't mind the smell of strong tobacco, I hope?
I smoke ships myself.
That's good enough. I get in the dumps at times, and don't open my mouth for days on end. Just let me alone, and I'll soon be right. What have you to confess now? It's best for two fellows to know what bruises each other carries before they begin to live together. My last companion and I...
Well, I object to rows because my nerves are shaken. And I get up at all sorts of ungodly hours. And I am extremely lazy. I have another set of vices when I'm well.
Походу модельку Джона тупо усы просто добавили.
Do you include violin playing in your category for route?
It depends on the player. A well-played violin is a treat for the gods. A badly played one.
Oh, no, that's all right. I think we may consider the thing as settled. Oh, forgive my manners. My attention wavers. Sherlock Holmes.
Dr. John Watson.
John.
Интересно, можно другие концовки посмотреть? Ну вот и все. Получается, прошли. Ага, можно, реально.
Sherlock.
Get off me.
Sherry.
You knew, and more than that, you hid it from me.
You couldn't bear the truth.
I killed my own mother, John. It is unforgivable.
It was an accident, Sherlock. She was mad, abusive. You were a child, simply trying to help.
How could she? You were a lie, John. A fiction. A crutch.
No, I was a friend. Sherlock, please.
Sherlock?
What?
Are you okay?
I don't know.
I told you not to come, Sherlock. Where is he?
Who?
Your friend, John.
He's beside you.
Was all this worth it? Is he worth it?
Why is he here?
I think, in his own way, he was trying to protect me. A truth I couldn't bear, but now I must face it. There is only one thing to be done.
What are you talking about?
To expect adherence to the principles of truth and justice, but to fail to hold oneself likewise accountable, it would be hypocrisy. My mother died by my hand. I must turn myself into the authorities and face the consequences of my actions.
The consequences of your actions? You were a child. She did this to you, not you unto her. You are throwing your life away in an act of moralistic vanity. Think of all you could accomplish for our nation.
This is where we differ, Mycroft. To you, the ends justify the means. To me, the means have decided the end. The truth is the truth.
Fine, Sherlock. Walk yourself into the police station and pray those men you oft embarrassed hold no grudges. If you're lucky, they'll simply exile you. If not, I'll see you in 20 years.
Are you going to berate me too? Try and talk me out of it? As I told my brother, if I cannot demonstrate the character I chastise others for lacking...
Sherry, I think this is something you will have to do yourself.
Myself? How do you mean?
All I ever did, all I ever wanted, was to protect you from what happened. And now you tell me I was wrong to try. that it was ego or hypocrisy to show a young boy kindness. But it was just empathy, creativity, and love for one's self. So please, please, Sherlock, don't do it.
Why can none of you see it? The truth is the truth. A murder is a murder. Tell me, John, why?
Because you're breaking my heart. I know you've decided. I know. I just wish you hadn't.
I'm sorry, John. All these years we spent together, all the time I took for granted. You'll always be a part of me.
No, Sherry. That's the point. I don't think I will.
Why are you here?
Closure, I suppose. And to help a friend.
You and I are not friends. In a race between the thawing of the ice caps and our friendship, I would buy a boat.
Ha! Is that right?
I can see it now. I know what you did. What did I do?
Otto was merely the gravity that pulled me into your orbit.
Why?
To help you.
To show more lies.
To see what had happened. You're my master. It is a Oh, when one wants... Now...
I was prepared to take responsibility for my actions, but again my brother conspired against me. A little diplomatic pressure and the trial was dismissed. Instead, I was exiled from Cordona. Freedom never tasted so bitter. Another perversion of justice at Mycroft's hand. With no means, no home, and no purpose, I returned to London. I enrolled at Cambridge University, but few lectures held my interest. I prefer to spend time alone at the hospital laboratory, pursuing truths in chemical form. No one there questions my choices. I have begun to attract a desperate clientele, men that skulk after me, pleading for answers to their simple mysteries. At first, the distraction was unwelcome. Now, I find myself craving it, lest my mind drift back to the island, to Mother, to John. What was her life worth? How many adulterers and petty thieves will it take to make it right? Can anything?
And...
How are you? Never mind. Why it is the case is off and that's what.
Well,
do you?
It depends.
Oh,
Dr. John.
Но все-таки самая такая правильная концовка, кажется, это первая.
Sherlock.
Где типа Джон
Can you
виноват.
hear me? Come on, wake up.
Get off me.
Sherry, you couldn't bear the truth.
Otto Richter murdered my mother, and Mycroft covered it up. Whisked me away from this place, buried...
And you needed a way to...
You were alive.
Sherlock?
What?
Are you...
Who?
Why?
You kept me in the dark, and kept your actions quiet. You enabled Richter and his untested quackery for far too long. Worse, you wanted to lock up our mother.
I wanted to give you a chance at normalcy, at childhood. There was no changing what happened, no good to come of dwelling in the past.
It was lies upon lies. Otto Richter killed our mother, and you kept it from me. You had no right. I deserved to know.
You deserved to live, Sherlock. In his twisted mind, he killed her for you. But you didn't need to bear the burden of his choice. You were so fragile. I could not... I just couldn't. I chose us over him.
You know, for once, I actually believe you. And perhaps, now that the truth is out, I can finally do what you had hoped. Leave it all in the past.
Good. You have your whole life ahead of you, Sherlock. It is time you got on with it.
I was worried there for a minute, Sherry. Really worried. I didn't want to hurt you. What's so funny?
I am talking to myself, John. I think I was hurt regardless.
But we made a good team, eh? Explored every inch of this place together. Helped a lot of people. Terrorized a few too, I suppose. I think I may go so far as to say, Sherry, that I have not lived wholly in vain.
So that's it. It's over.
You've opened every door, Sherry. Faced the past you locked away. You don't need me anymore.
I know. I will miss you all the same. I don't want you to go.
Yes, you do.
Goodbye, John.
Болел, что ли? Или чё? И чё сказали?
Why are you here?
Closure, I suppose.
Сейчас нормально, что ли?
Race between the thawing of the ice caps.
Ha! There was no love. Otto was merely the gravity that...
Why?
To
more lies.
To see... You're my masterpiece. It is a... Oh, when one... Now... You really are beautiful.
Как умудрился ты заболеть так? Я тоже валялся с ангиной, блин, 40, тоже была температура, это капец.
After everything, Cordona felt hollow, cloying. I returned to London and joined Mycroft in his work for the Crown, but soon that too soured. He cannot abide me being right, or perhaps I cannot abide him being wrong. I left after 2 months. I enrolled at Cambridge University, though it proved similarly unsatisfying. The lectures were of limited interest. I am more obsessed with my work in a hospital laboratory, pursuing medical research and devising novel testing methods. At least there, I can be confident in the truth. I think about you in the evenings. I helped a woman with a trivial matter, and now others arrive at my door for assistance with their mysteries. We could have spent years on the case together, just like Cordona. But I didn't listen to you, John. Now you're gone.
По сути, это тоже такая нормальная концовка.
I found it. And
Ну, может, сейчас спал уже. Я потому что вообще валялся просто. Не мог ничего делать даже.
well, doctor.
Лекарства-то уж давали, наверное. Ну и последнее осталось посмотреть.
Sherlock. Sherlock. Can you hear me? Come on, wake up.
Get off me.
Sherry,
You knew, and more than that, you hid it from me.
you couldn't bear the truth, Sherlock.
Otto Richter murdered my mother, and Mycroft covered it up.
And you needed a way to cope. So
You were a...
Sherlock,
What?
are you okay?
I don't know.
I told you not to come.
Who?
Your friend.
why is he here?
I think...
Sherlock, what are you doing?
You kept me in the dark and kept your actions quiet. You enabled Richter and his untested quackery for far too long. And worse, you wanted to lock up our mother.
I wanted to give you a chance at normalcy, childhood. There was no changing what happened, no good to come of dwelling in the past.
It was lies upon lies. Otto Richter was trying to save her, but you decided he deserved to take the fall. Is that justice?
The big picture, Sherlock. The big picture. Perhaps Richter was not responsible for her fit of rage, but his treatment led inexorably to that moment. You were so fragile. I could not...
I was worried there for a minute, Sherry. Really worried.
I am talking.
But we made a good team, eh? I think I may go so far as to say, you've opened every door.
I know.
Yes.
Зато Вань в школу не надо.
Bye, John. Why are you here? To help you, to show you more like to see what you're my. It is a man. Now. You really are beautiful.
My brother returned to London soon after our disagreement.
Microsoft.
He enrolled at Cambridge University but attends only the rare classes that hold his interest. I hear he took employment at a hospital laboratory, obsessing over his experiments. I suppose he seeks solace in the empirical truth of a chemical test. I am afraid for him. His evenings are spent alone, solving citizens' menial mysteries to pass the time. And I suspect he is growing paranoid. One of my agent's vehicles recently ignited during a surveillance operation. She was lucky to get out alive. There is only one man who could orchestrate such a feat. Or perhaps two. I saved my brother. He will never forgive me.
Ну что ж, все концовки посмотрели. Нормально.
How are you? Why are you just...
Well, Dr.
Получается, игру прошли. Все. Нормально. Мне понравилось. Так, ладно тогда. Всем пока. Спокойной ночи. Завтра что-нибудь другое поиграем.